All right, let's get right into it. There is this huge, and I mean huge, misconception about Montessori education that we're going to unpack today. It's a question that comes up all the time, and it really gets to the heart of what makes this whole approach so different.
So here's the big question, right? Is Montessori too free? You hear phrases like child-led learning and freedom in the classroom, and let's be honest, your mind can easily jump to, well, chaos.
And yeah, this quote just hits the nail on the head. That's the image, isn't it? A classroom with no rules, kids just running wild, doing whatever they feel like. It's a pretty powerful image, but is it actually true?
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. The reality of a Montessori classroom is, and I'm not exaggerating here, the complete and total opposite of that chaotic picture. It's a fascinating paradox.
In fact, Montessori isn't just a little structured. It's actually one of the most structured, intentional, and orderly educational approaches on the planet. So how in the world do you get from that deep structure to real, authentic freedom? That's exactly what we're going to explore.
Okay, so first things first, we have to tackle this too free myth head on. And the way to do that is to totally redefine what freedom even means in a Montessori classroom, because it's probably not what you're thinking. Look at this. This breaks it down so perfectly. On one side, you've got what freedom is. It's choosing your own work. It's moving freely around the room. It's following what you're genuinely interested in, at your own speed. But then look at the other side. Freedom is not a license to just run and yell. It's not about disturbing other people or just doing anything you want whenever you want.
And that brings us to the most important point, really. In Montessori, freedom is all about having a purpose. It's never just freedom for freedom's sake. Every bit of freedom a child is given is always paired with a responsibility to themselves, their friends, and their classroom.
So, this whole idea, right? Freedom as purpose, not chaos. How does that actually work? How do you maintain that purposeful environment? Well, it all comes down to these amazing layers of intentional structure, and it all starts with the room itself.
The classroom environment, what's called the prepared environment, is designed with incredible care. I mean, every single thing is thought out. The shelves are arranged in a specific, logical way. The learning materials are laid out in a sequence from simple to more complex. The daily routines are super predictable. It all creates this sense of external order that helps the child build their own internal order.
And this quote says it all, doesn't it? Nothing is random. Everything is intentional. Every single object in that room has a specific place and a specific purpose. This isn't just interior design. It is the very first layer of structure that guides the children.
All right, so that's the environment. The next layer of structure, well, it comes from the teacher, or as they're known in Montessori, the guide. And their job is radically different from what you might picture.
Now, this is a total flip from what you're probably used to. The guide isn't a lecturer standing at the front of the room talking at a group of kids. No, the guide is an observer. They're this dynamic, deeply engaged presence, but their main job is to watch, to understand what each individual child needs. And don't think for a second that observing is passive. It's this super active process. The guide is constantly observing, figuring out when to step in gently, when to offer a new lesson to a child who's ready, or when a child might need a little redirection. And maybe most importantly, they know when to protect a child's deep concentration from interruptions.
And that's what we mean by invisible structure. It's this framework that you might not see right away, but the guide's careful observation and subtle interventions are the guardrails that make it safe for every child to explore and be independent.
Okay, next up, the materials themselves. And this part is just genius. Every single Montessori material is designed to be its own source of structure. They build logic, they progress from really concrete ideas to abstract ones, and here's the kicker. So many of them are self-correcting. This means a child can see their own mistake, like a puzzle piece not fitting, and fix it themselves without an adult having to point it out. That's huge. It builds independence, it teaches order, and it requires some serious focus.
And then there's the final piece of the puzzle, the social structure, the community itself. These aren't just rules for the sake of rules. They are expectations that make the whole community work. You know, learning to wait your turn for something you want to use. Putting your work away exactly where you found it so it's ready for the next person. Respecting other people's concentration. These are the things that protect everyone's freedom to learn.
So you take the environment, the guide, the materials, the social expectations, you put it all together, and you finally arrive at the absolute core concept of this entire philosophy. It's called freedom within limits, and it's this beautiful dynamic balance. You see, the structure isn't there to hold the child back. It's actually the very thing that makes real, meaningful choice and true independence possible in the first place.
I just love this phrasing. It's not one or the other, it's both. You get freedom, but it comes with structure. You get independence, but it's tied to responsibility. And you get to make choices, but those choices are always guided by respect.
And the result? The payoff for all this careful balancing? Well, you get kids who are not only smart, but who are confident, self-disciplined, and have this incredible internal motivation. They are literally learning how to manage their own freedom, and that is a skill that will serve them for their entire lives.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought, a question to chew on. What if our whole idea of freedom is a little bit off? What if true, meaningful freedom isn't about having no limits at all, but about having the right ones in place to help us succeed?